the two swords doctrine. This is important because it continues that same thread that we mentioned earlier of the higher perfection of the complete peace, the bloodless individual. And this is where we get into this more. The two swords doctrine is the traditional doctrine. It actually, if you go to OnePeterFive right now, there is a the article by Peter Kwasniewski about the death penalty. It's very important on this, and let me just bring that up real quick because it's critically important for this question. The two swords doctrine is the traditional doctrine of the lay and clerical classes which govern Christendom. There is the clerics who wield the spiritual sword, and there are the lay people who wield the temporal sword. So the lay people, their job is to govern the natural order using the temporal sword, literally a sword, which can execute capital punishment and execute a just war. And this is something that Kwasniewski really brings out beautifully here. So either in the death penalty teaching of Pope Francis, either we have a change of church teaching that's heretical, or B, Pope Francis is merely stating that there is no longer any possible prudential situation in the entire world in which the death penalty may be justified in order to defend the common good of society from malefactors. So what this is saying is that Pope Francis is even if we have the lesser of the two evils. So option A is bad enough. That would be heresy. But option B is a close second. Because Kwasniewski says this: if B is the correct interpretation, he was equal in error, because not even the most extreme ultramontanist imaginable ever maintained that the papacy is endowed with a political prudence superior to and inclusive of the political prudence of all princes, presidents, prime ministers, parliaments, legislatures, and courts of the entire world, such that he is capable of knowing in detail what is right and just in every possible social circumstance. What Kwasniewski is bringing out here is that it is the lay order, it is our job as lay people who govern to mete out the death penalty as we see fit for the sake of the common good in our particular situation. Because even John Paul II, who did oppose the death penalty, he did not go so far as to say that he was going to dictate to all the nations of the entire world that they could not impose the death penalty. And that's why Cardinal Ratzinger clarified specifically in a political situation in 2004 that a Catholic can disagree with the Pope regarding just war and death penalty, because a lay Catholic's job is to do those things. It's our job, if we are rulers, and this also goes for fathers. We're not meting out the death penalty, obviously, but we are, we're meting out corporal punishment as necessary with our children. It is our job as lay people to do this. So there's sort of an analogy to the corporal punishment of a father to the capital punishment and a just war of a Catholic state, which is meted out by the lay people. So this is the doctrine of the two swords. The lay power, it's our job to mete out the just war as necessary. So ultimately, we make the final decision on this. It's our job to make the final decision on this. It's our role. That's our role in Christendom. But the cleric has a higher role. The cleric should not mete out corporal, capital, or a just war punishment. Here's St. Thomas Aquinas. So St. Thomas, this is in the same section with St. Thomas says it is lawful to kill in self-defense. However, he says that it is not lawful for a cleric. Listen to this, quote, "It is unlawful for clerics to kill for two reasons." So he's saying kill in the most general sense of the word. So this is in the context, again, of killing in self-defense. He says, first, because they are chosen for the ministry of the altar, whereon is represented the passion of Christ slain. When he suffered, he threatened not. 1 Peter 2:23. Therefore, it becomes not clerics to strike or kill. For ministers should imitate their master, according to Sirach 10:2. As the judge of the people is himself, so also are his ministers. End quote. The other reason is because clerics are entrusted with the ministry of the new law, wherein no punishment of death or of bodily maiming is appointed. Wherefore they should abstain from such things in order that they may be fitting ministers of the New Testament. That's from Secunda Secundae, question 64, article 4. So there is this higher perfection that clerics are called to, that clerics should not participate in killing. That is why clerics in the saints of the Crusades, or the clerics, the chaplains of the Crusades, they were not killing people in the Crusades. They were ministering to all souls. That's their job, because that's the most perfect imitation of Christ. As lay people, again, we have to sort of be stained with this world. We have to be stained with this natural world, this veil of tears. And so we do have to engage in corporal, capital, or just war punishment to secure a just peace, to secure the common good. We have to do this because we live in this world. But because clerics, and also goes for religious, they are living the life of the world to come in a much more perfect sense in this life. And so they refrain from all violence. That's the two swords doctrine.